So I want to tell you another story about agriculture. Jesus he's going through the region of Samaria in first century Palestine. As he's going through Samaria, he sends his disciples into a town and says, go get us something to eat. And he stays at the well. Now this is midday, and midday, nobody's at the well. The women come at the break of dawn. They come early in the morning to fetch the water, but not at midday when it's hot. Jesus stays by the well. Why is he staying by the well, sending his disciples into town? Well, there's a woman, Jesus knows, who comes to fetch water from that well every day around noon because, well, why does she come when there's no other women around? And most people reading the story have speculated that because she'd been married and divorced 5 times and was now living with a man who wasn't her husband, the women gossiped about her and made her feel ashamed. And so she came when they weren't there so she could fetch water. And Jesus is waiting for her. And when she finally comes to the well, Jesus, she's getting ready to draw water and she doesn't say anything to Jesus. And Jesus finally says, draw me some water, fetch me some water. And she looks at him and she's like, well, wait, you're a Jewish rabbi and you're asking me, a Samaritan woman? And she was thinking but didn't say, a sinner? You're asking me to get you water? You're talking to me? And Jesus says, if you knew who you were talking to, you would ask of me and I would give you living water and you would never thirst again. He's offering this woman something. He's offering her what she needs. He knows that she's married and divorced 5 times and living with a man. And in the first century, women didn't divorce their husbands. So there were 5 men who had divorced this woman and now a man who wouldn't marry her, but took advantage of living with her, right? And so there was a lot of pain and brokenness. And we don't know what it was. You have to read between the lines, but Jesus waits there for her and he offers her living water. That is the Holy Spirit. He offers her life. He offers her love and grace and mercy. Right, and then the disciples come back and they see Jesus and he's talking to this woman. It's like, well, what are you doing talking with this Samaritan woman, Jesus? Come on. And the woman goes on into town, goes back to her town, and Jesus says this, look, I tell you, open your eyes. Notice that the fields are already ripe for the harvest. I love that. The fields are already ripe for the harvest. He's saying, do you know why I'm sitting here? I'm sitting here because there was a woman who was hurting. And that woman needed help and encouragement and care. And I waited for her to offer her living water. Now, shortly after that, something amazing happens. The disciples are stunned when they see many of the people from that Samaritan town coming out to listen to Jesus. And in John, we read these words, many of the Samaritans from that town believed in Jesus because of the woman's testimony. So she goes back and she becomes a missionary to her own people. This woman who was considered sinful is now a missionary for Jesus. She has found living water from him and she goes to tell other people what she's found and they come and they believe because of her testimony. And that's what this whole seeding and harvesting is all about. This is what it looks like. Sometimes it looks like providing food or bed sheets or lighting and electricity, solar panels for people in Malawi. And sometimes it looks like going to tell someone else what you found, that your life really does have meaning and that there really is hope and you think you've met the Messiah.